District, October 12th, 2017. Let the record reflect that all board trustees are present. And for our Pledge of Allegiance, can we please have Bridgeway Islands PTO President, Erica Lindy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, actions to be taken. Announcements of action taken in closed session. We had E1 Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, WTA, CSEA. Information was received. E2 Government Code Section 54957, public employee discipline dismissal release. Information was received. And we will be going back into closed session for our other two items. Can I have, unless there's any changes to the agenda? I think Superintendent Linda Luna.
Thank you. Board President Kirby Gonzalez, I'd like to just make a correction to the agenda. It's consent agenda item N.11, approval of contracted service with Swinnerton Builders for the Alice Norman Administration Building Project. There's a correction that needs to be made on the financial impact. The funds to fund this particular building construction project will not be coming out of General Fund 01. It will be coming out of construction funds, not out of General Fund.
Okay, are there any other changes? Okay. So motion was made to approve by Board Trustee Akala.
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Psat. All those in favor?
Aye.
I too say aye. And that takes us to communications and celebrations. We have our school report from Bridgeway Island Elementary School and Principal Chin.
All right. Good evening, board members, cabinet, and community guests. This evening, we would like to highlight and showcase the exciting work that is happening at Bridgeway Island. First, I would like to introduce the administrative team that work with me. This is Mr. Gosafi, Tim Gosafi, and Ms. Jenna Rasky, assistant principals. Tonight, we also have joining with us some of our students, Mrs. La Marin, our Avid coordinator, and Erica Lindley, our PTO president. Our goal in this presentation is to personalize the work that we're doing at Bridgeway so that you get to meet the students, staff, and community members who are impacted by our work every day. Our school-wide goal this year is to align all high-quality standards-based instruction, activities, and resources to the district's LCAP and strategic plan. I'd like to start by setting the stage for how we started this school year. Our district is implementing three very important initiatives. We have MTSS, the multi-tiered support systems, ELD and ALD for our EL and English-speaking students, and rigorous curriculum design through the work of our Dream Team teachers. Of the 5 goals, I'd like to start with LCAP Goal 4, School Climate. This goal emphasizes a learning environment that is safe, healthy, nurturing, and supportive. In our quest to help our students develop into independent, lifelong learners who also find joy in their educational experience, we taught them the concept of growth mindset. Staff and students were trained utilizing videos and classroom discussions. So, what is growth mindset? Growth mindset is the theory that students' intelligence and abilities can be developed over time through the right kind of encouragement. Here's a video of our students explaining their understanding of growth mindset. more time. All right. We're getting there, growth mindset. Oh, it was a beautiful video. Actually, one of our students that was on the video is here. He's so proud to have been part of that video.
Send the video to board members and post it online.
Right. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Now I've lost my rhythm. I would like, the other thing that we would like to emphasize is our Be Active program that we've had at Bridgeway for 6 years. We encourage our students to be healthy and physically active, and many of our students walk to school or ride their bike to school. The program started with 23 students and has 75 students currently participating, with an overall participation of 800 students during the duration of the program. LCAP Goal 1, 21st Century Skills. Our commitment to getting students college and career ready is evident in what we provide students to enhance their academic learning. Not only are we interested in their academic endeavors, but we also want them to develop their unique interests and talents. An example of getting our students college and career ready is our MESA program, and I would like to introduce Katy Henson, a 7th grade student who is a member of MESA this year.
Hi, my name is Katy Henson, and I am in 7th grade at Bridgeway Island Elementary. Last year was my very first year in MESA, and I am proud to say that I am still in the program. Last year, I participated in 2 main projects, Speak Up, which is a debate-like project, and Stick Together, which is a weight-bearing popsicle stick bridge. Both went to San Jose Regionals, and I won first place for my Speak Up project. My project was on how robotics can improve human action through robotic surgeons and robotic prosthetics. I really love MESA, and I am happy to say that I'm still in the project, the class this year, and I will be continuing with it onto 8th grade and into high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Katy. Another action that we would like to highlight for LCAP Goal 1 is increasing and prioritizing classroom technology. An example of this is when our History 8th grade students participated in the District Technology Student Fair and created a wee video. We not only want them to learn about technology, but we want them to apply them in the classes that they're taking. And I'm hoping this time it will work. Where's the sound?
Future groups, they should just come in here and make it all work during closed session.
She said she was going to do that. I know it's going to really freak Grace out.
This was a very short version of the movie trailer that they made, and I'm sorry we didn't get the audio on that. All right. Moving along. LCAP Goal 2, Educational Opportunities. We offer a broad course of study to our students, such as our C-STEM elective class. Megan Schulhammer has taught this class for the past 6 years, and the first generation of C-STEM students that we have now entered university, and several have entered computer engineering-specific programs. One of our former students, Maya Dua, with the support of River City faculty, won the Girls Reforming the Future Challenge Award last year. Here are current C-STEM students who would like to share a few things about the program. And they're now on video. Come on, girls.
Hi, my name is Ashley Jensen, and this is my second year in C-STEM. In my first year, I learned basic programming skills and applied that to robots to complete obstacle courses. Then at the end of the year, as a class, we went to competition. This year, I hope to expand on those skills and learn more advanced programming.
Hi, my name is Kara Mann, and I'm a second year in C-STEM. For the beginning of C-STEM, we spend time learning basic programming skills and help build up teamwork skills with people in our class. We also use code.org, a programming website, to further our skills. We practice coding basic programs for the computer, such as drawings on graphs. During the second semester, we practice using LinkBox to complete certain tasks. We are all preparing for the end of our year C-STEM competition, which we all look forward to.
My name is Isabel Sedora, and this is my second year in C-STEM. Based on last year, I look forward to exploring further C-STEM opportunities in high school. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Okay. We have a student who is willing to talk about the growth mindset since our video didn't work. David, come on. Oh, okay. You have to- Oh, easy.
All I see is eyes.
Here, I'll ask you questions. Okay. So we're going to recreate the video with a couple little questions for him. So David, can you tell me what growth mindset is?
Something to keep trying.
Mm-hmm. And what's hard about that?
If you mess up on something, you shouldn't just walk away or sit down and do nothing.
And when have you had to have a growth mindset?
When I did the cat box and dishes.
How come? What was the growth mindset about that?
On the dishes, it is hard to clean like really dirty stuff, and sometimes I have to use water to soak the stuff, and then I have to use the soap and scrub it.
Awesome. And then the last question, can you tell us about one of the growth mindset videos you've watched in your class? What's your favorite one?
I don't know.
It's okay. Can you tell about the song? No. You open? Awesome. Okay. You look really good.
Good job, David. Thank you, David. We would also like to highlight our Avid program that has now expanded to include kindergarten through 8th grades. And here's Mrs. Law Marin, our Avid coordinator, to share what our plans are for this year.
Good evening, and we've definitely used a lot of growth mindset tonight, so I'm glad to see it working. So the Avid strategies that we have are applicable across all the K-8 classes and core content classes to ensure that students are prepared for not only college but career choices in the 21st century. The two critical strategies that we're working on for this year for our site to implement will be organization as well as collaboration. We think that with these skills, the students will have the tools that they need for success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Law Marin. Also under LCAP Goal 2 educational opportunities, here are some examples of the after-school opportunities that we offer at Bridgeway. 3 of these programs are offered in conjunction with the support of our PTO. LCAP Goal 3, high-quality teaching and learning. We are proud of the high-quality professional development that our teachers are receiving, especially our Dream Team teachers who are going through the rigorous curriculum design, training, and planning that will eventually benefit all grade-level team members. Here's a photo that was taken just Wednesday of our fifth grade teachers collaborating with their grade-level team members, with our district TOSAs and other teachers here at in the Washington Unified School District. All right, LCAP Goal 5, Community Engagement. Our action for this goal that we want to highlight is how we engage all members of our community and how our students are learning to become ethical, responsible contributors to their community. Bridgeway has a school-wide focus on community service, and here to share her experience is Diana Tovmasnian from our National Junior Honor Society.
Hello, my name is Diana Tovmasnian, and I have been a member of NJHS at Bridgeway since 6th grade. Since being a member, I have learned a lot more about helping my community. For example, I have learned about volunteering at the Sacramento Food Bank, and I have been excited to volunteer this year. For the past 2 years, I have participated in Pennies for Patients and Trick or Treat for UNICEF, where we have raised thousands of dollars for people in need. Also, I have completed over 24 hours of community service and planned and organized 2 service projects. For the first service project, I organized a canned food drive, and in the second project, I created goodie bags for children at the UC Davis Children's Hospital. Being in NJHS has been my pleasure, and because I have had the opportunity to help my community locally and internationally. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Our PTO has been instrumental in engaging our community and providing opportunities for parent involvement. Here's Erica Lindley, our PTO president.
Hello, my name is Erica Lindley, and I am the PTO president this year at Bridgeway. This year, our organization updated our mission statement to reflect our philosophy of holistic enrichment for our students, which naturally includes our parents and their families. We have put a lot of time and energy into creating free, family-centered events, such as our Fall Carnival that was held in September, that was really well received and had a good turnout, as well as our movie night that is next Friday. These are both free events that we're putting on for the students and their families. In addition to the financial support that our organization has historically provided for the school and campus and the students, our administration feels it's really worthwhile to take our energies and put them towards these free family events so that our students and our parents can come together, spend some time with one another, and build the bonds of community. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. We'd like to end our presentation in a musical note, and we want to thank the school board for supporting VAPA in our schools. We're proud of the accomplishments of our band students, and this is the band. Now, I don't know if if you can hear them playing. Growth mindset. There you go.
They're rocking out to Beat It.
That's actually beat it, but that's all I can sing. That's it. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much, board. Thank you.
Other comments? Yeah. I want to thank you so much. I think that to the students who spoke, I think you had a little more growth mindset than the adults. I think they gave up a little too soon on some of those videos, maybe. So thank you. And to speak on the spot, David, and not know you were going to do that, you did a nice job too. And to one of our students in the back, I think it's Katie, I remember you speaking about Kevin Bracey and a Kevin Bracey poster that you did last year, right? Yeah. So thank you to all of the students for coming and giving your evening to the families that brought them, and to the PTA and PTO, and to all the staff and all that you do. So we very much appreciate it, and I'll end with saying that my daughter loves Crest. She comes and tells me about it every Tuesday. She's having a great time. So thank you again for all you do. Thank you. Thanks, kids. Okay, that moves us on then to our student and association reports. And we are so happy to have, and help, correct me if I'm wrong, Dazer Tolentino? Tolentino, okay, from Washington Middle College High School. Welcome.
Good evening, board members and community guests. I'm Dazer Tolentino, and I'm the school board representative of Washington Middle College High School. And I'm here to present the board report of October 12, 2017. Bridgeway Island raised money last week during their annual bee run to help support their program. Caught You Being Good. Excuse me. The program involves weekly prize drawings and book vouchers for students who were acknowledged for their safety, respect, and responsibility. And future events for Bridgeway would be the PTO movie, as I said, on October 20th. Student-led conferences on the week of October 23rd, which are all minimum days, the whole week. And on the 27th, it's the Spirit Day, Pajama Day, and the Principal Cafe, which will be held for all parents, also October 27th. Moving on, Stonegate Elementary is having its 11th annual Harvest Festival on October 20 from 4 to 7 p.m. There will be games with prizes, music, food, and a craft fair. And music will be performed by the Stonegate Band and the syncopating Sea Monkeys. Elkhorn will be hosted their annual Fall Festival on Friday, October 20 from 3 to 6 p.m. They're also beginning their practice for their ballet folklorico for students in 6 to 8. Students and parents are eager to get started and to learn the dances native to various regions in Mexico. And Avid for the middle school and the elementary school in Elkhorn are off and running. Students are engaged in a variety of strategies and to ensure that they are grasping and applying the many concepts which make the Avid program successful. Bright is also having its annual Harvest Festival and an open house on the 27th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. It is free admission and includes a $4 spaghetti dinner, chef demos by culinary students, farm to work students, campus tours, and vendors and informational booths. Alice Norman Preschool is also busy getting their littlest learners settled into their new routines of attending school and making friends and learning all the wonderful preschool experience and concepts. The preschool would like to thank Giorgio for his excellent work on getting our their mascot pony updated, getting new preschool information banners for their community, and updating their old marquee. And the Alice Norman Preschool, I've also just completed the first cookie dough fundraiser. Even though they did not make a big profit, they are grateful and they made many customers happy with their products. Yeah. They would like to thank the people who supported it. And in River City High School, the homecoming went really well this year, they said. Some of the teachers got more into it, but challenging a department. Overall, the world language teachers dominate the Spirit Week with their creative outfits. The rally was one of the best, with a range of performances by dance crews, choir, cheer, and drum line. The seniors won float design, following by juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. The dance this year pre-sold 60 more tickets than last year. And upcoming is ASB starting to work on taking apart the floats, staff appreciation, and sports night. And for River City sports, in football, the Raiders are currently 5-2 and sit at 1-2 in the TCC League competition. With that being said, the Raiders are very much in the hunt to qualify for the playoffs. Friday night, the Raiders take on Yuba City in what promises to be a very competitive game. In girls tennis, the Lady Raiders are still undefeated in the TCC League competition. The Lady Raiders took a commanding lead in the race for a league championship with a convincing win over Pioneer last week. The Raiders hope to make a strong showing in the postseason conferences, tournaments, and in the CIF playoffs. And in water polo, the Lady Raiders took sole possessions of first place with a 4-3 win over McClatchy last week. On the boys' side, the Raiders had a couple tough losses to McClatchy and Kennedy. They're in a tie with Kennedy for second place in Metro Conference. This Saturday, the water polo program will be hosting its first ever tournament from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It would be a great time to see the Raiders in action. In girls volleyball, River City varsity volleyball beat Rio Linda last week for its second conference win. With a young team, the Raiders continue to battle in a very competitive volleyball conference. Tonight, the Raiders will be taking on the Intercom Tigers on the road. In cross country, in the second of 3 TCC League meets, the Raiders boys and girls team both finished in 6th place. The team still continues to show drastic improvements with individual runners consistently breaking their own personal records. This Saturday, they will be competing at the Bella Vista Bronco Invitational and for the Washington Middle College High School. 2 weeks ago, we had our first Avid site visit and received a lot of positive feedback, and well as some suggestions to move us even closer to our goal of becoming an Avid demonstration school, while helping all our students become expert college students. Last week, Washington Middle College High School was thrilled to participate in the Parade of Mascots. Thanks to USD for the opportunity and the River City High School Assistant Principal Rodriguez for putting it all together. It's great to be in Washington, the WSD. On Friday, October 27th, all students will be heading to visit the California Museum. Each grade has a slightly different schedule. For the 9th grade, the Dia de los Muertos exhibit and the Health Happens Here exhibit. For the 10th, the Japanese internment and immigration exhibits. For the 11th, the Japanese internment and the immigration exhibits, plus the Unity Center. And for the 12th, Constitution Wall and the Unity Center. And then at 6 p.m. that evening, we are hosting our first Halloween movie night for the community. This family-friendly event will include movies, trick-or-treating, a costume contest, and more. And most importantly today, the freshman class of 2021 completed their first Sac City College class. Students are one unit closer to their college degrees, and they haven't even gotten their first quarter progress reports for the 9th grade yet. And finally, we're officially opening up our application window for next school year with an early bird deadline of December 1st. Spread the word and apply early. And we have openings at all grade levels, but not for long. That concludes the school board report for October 12, 2017.
Thank you so much. Okay, and that takes us to the WTA report, and I assume, Ms. Gregory, are you doing that tonight? Okay.
Good evening. Thank you, President Kirby Gonzalez, trustees, superintendent, and cabinet. Don could not be with us tonight, so I'll be speaking and reading his message. We have been receiving a number of concerns from members regarding how MTSS is being rolled out. We understand that this is only the beginning of its implementation. It seems, though, that different campuses are in different places, and many faculty are not sure of the procedures, their responsibilities, and how the needs of struggling students are being met. Another concern has also been raised about the availability of readers and other materials for young students who are struggling in their reading. We all know that there have been questions about the developmental appropriateness of some of the early grades, Common Core standards. The question here pertains to having resources available to those students who are struggling to meet those standards. Finally, all of us will be at our first professional development day tomorrow. Some are excited, some are dubious. In any event, we hope it to be a big success. And then on a personal note, October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and next year it'd be really nice if we participated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And CSCA report? Don't think anybody's here for tonight for that. Okay. So that leads us to public comment. And before public comment, I do have our statement that I read, and that is that the board respects the rights of members of the public to speak to us regarding matters on the agenda and other matters within the jurisdiction of the board. However, it is important for members of the public to recognize that comments regarding students other than the speaker's own children made during a public board meeting may be legally actionable as a violation of student privacy. Both state and federal law prohibit the board and others from discussing confidential student information in open session. To this end, be advised that if you reference a student's name other than your own student, you will be out of order and your comments may not be protected by the privileges that protect public speech. You could be found liable for such comments in legal proceedings. Furthermore, it is important for the public to understand that negative or derogatory comments made against district employees or others, even those made in a public board meeting, may be actionable civil defamation. As such, the board reminds the public that the district has existing board policy that allows the public to lodge a complaint against a district employee. This policy provides a comprehensive procedure for reviewing and responding to public complaints. This process provides a more thorough opportunity to be heard than is allowed under the open meeting law that governs this meeting. And our public comments are 3 minutes. And if you have a comment that you would like to say about an agenda item later, we ask that you fill out the blue slip before the staff report, although we don't have any staff reports tonight, so a very rare evening. Okay, David Weller.
My name is David Weller, and I'm sorry that I have to be here tonight. This is Anti-Bullying Month, if you've heard, and we have done a huge disservice to our students in regards to anti-bullying and bullying. Time frame currently to deal with the process for an investigation and getting back to the parents in regards to bullying is 60 days plus an additional 14 days to get the ruling out. Then if there's an issue that has to go further, it's another 60 days to the state to go for an appeal and another 2 weeks to get that. That's half of the school year. That is half of a school year that a child can continue to get bullied. That is not appropriate. My child has been bullied for the last 3 years and not much has been done. Not much. So, I want to find out, what does the district do as far as dealing with conflict of interest with a district employee when their child is the aggressor and the bully? How do we ensure the information gets to the correct places and that the child is dealt with correctly and, quite frankly, the family is dealt with? What is the requirement of the staff? Not just the principal, not just the vice principal, but for the teachers, for the yard duty, and everyone else that has exposure and knowledge to this. What is the obligation and the responsibility to fill out the uniform complaint? If the parent does not have it, if they do not have internet access, are unable to speak the language or have the educational responsibility to fill that out, how does that get done? It does not. That is not acceptable. This is the anti-bullying month, and again, we need to do something. We need to change policies. We need to change the timeline to prevent half of a school year that can go on before changes is done. That is not appropriate. Once things are going and there are an identified aggressor and a bully, what happens if this bully is a district employee's child? How does that get settled? How does that get addressed? It does not. I'm upset, I'm ashamed of the school, and I'm ashamed of how this situation has been dealt with. We need more training, not just with the principals and the vice principals. It needs to go all the way down. It needs to go to the teachers, it needs to go to the yard duty, it needs to go to everybody who has got the access to the kids to be able to take care of them. I also want to acknowledge and announce as far as that, Linda, you did do an intake with me. I appreciate that, but you have failed to return any of my 11 phone calls or emails. I am disappointed in this behavior from our school board.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And that takes us to board and superintendent comments. So we have Board Trustee Wong. Would you like to go?
Sure. I don't have a lot to update, other than a parent was asking about the due date of the application for the middle college. So thank you for sharing that. That was very timely, literally, I think 2 days ago. I don't know, I'll find out. So here I am, finding out. Thank you for that. So I think the community was able to attend the memorial for the 3 children who had passed a couple of weeks ago, and our teachers and our Mr. Elliott and Principal Ainsworth did a really great job in acknowledging the memory and kind of what the children meant to the community, and that was really very much appreciated. So on Monday, Sarah and I were able to go to the CSBA Road Show, and that to learn more about kind of their grassroots effort to better engage school board members in policy discussions. And so that was very interesting in terms of they're trying something new, and we'll see how it works out, right? And lastly, yesterday I was able to participate in West Sacramento's domestic violence dialogue about kind of how we can ensure that there's prevention services possibly in our schools or in our community, and how we can better integrate kind of with the work that's happening with My Sister's House, Empower YOLO, and Yolo County Children's Alliance. So that was kind of a really fruitful conversation, and glad that they were able to kind of pull it together to kind of have that dialogue with the community. So that's about it for me.
Thank you. Board Trustee Akala?
Thank you. This weekend, I attended the California Latino School Board Association Convention. It was entitled Building Bridges for All Students, Public Education as a Civil Right. Dr. Barbara Flores, who's president of the Latino School Board Association, spearheaded a very successful conference featuring illuminated discussions on education issues confronting the Latino community. We received one of these wonderful booklets that allowed us to attend some very good lectures. Some of the lectures I wanted to share with you were, one of the sessions was top 5 ways you can improve your school's academic performance index scores. Another one was what duties are owed to children of detained or absent parents. Transition to college, parents and students working together to navigate the college process. It was really hard to decide because they had many excellent discussions. Now, the conference included also presentations on the ethnic studies revolution in El Rancho School District that helped close the achievement gap in the district of El Rancho. It's the first district to adopt ethnic studies as a graduation requirement. And what they did is they created an excellent curriculum. And when I shared some of this with my son, he said, you know, Mom, those are like some of my classes that I had at UC Davis. And some of the curriculum was created by many teachers, math teachers, history teachers. Some of the ethnic studies courses, I just wanted to read some of these out to you, were Examining Cultural Diversity and Gender Through Literature and Film, ROP, International Foods, like for our Culinary Academy, From Hoovervilles to Ferguson, A History of Social Movements in the United States, An Introduction to the Study of Native American People, U.S. Diversity and Ethnic Experience, which is an Ethno-Mathematics, a survey of the mathematical contributions of non-Western cultures. Incredibly comprehensive courses they're having. Also, there was an attorney, she's a senior attorney with the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, Deborah Escobar, who explained the little-known residency barriers confronting DACA students. Civil rights attorney Richard Martinez discussed his recent victory in the Tucson ethnic studies case in which the Arizona Federal District Court invalidated an Arizona statute outlawing Mexican-American studies. And they also had a very informative gubernatorial forum. 4 of the California candidates for governor appeared, 4 out of 5. And they also had a very incredibly informative discussion by the 2 candidates for superintendent of public instruction. It really shed a lot of light on the differences in their philosophy on education. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was the emphasis on VAPA. We had many of the students from the local districts come in, and it was students who were taking art classes, dance classes, drama classes, but there was a big emphasis on music. And some of the students were as young as 7 and 8, and they were playing violins. They learned to read music. They had different performances, everything from symphony to mariachi and jazz and salsa. And we're learning that when students study music, it really increases a lot of the math scores right across the board. 350 school board members attended, and it was fantastic. I really encourage everyone to come. They weren't all Latinos that attended, but it was a wonderful, wonderful conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Board Trustee Cruz?
I don't have any committee updates, but I want to remind the board, if you haven't already signed up, that next Wednesday is the dashboard training at the Yolo County Office of Education, and you can still sign up, deadline tomorrow. I visited on Monday, which some people don't agree about Columbus Day. It was a holiday for me. It's also Thanksgiving in Canada, so if you don't celebrate Columbus Day, you can celebrate Thanksgiving. So on that day, I spent some time visiting some of our campuses. I went out at 7:30 in the morning with one of the crossing guards that came to our board meeting last week with concerns about our speeding vehicles that tend not to stop for some of our crossing guards. Not only there, but I know it happens at a lot of our school sites. So I was out there with her. Not only did she cross our children, there were many community members either walking their dogs or their children in strollers. So not just schools, but our community. I also had the opportunity to visit Riverbank, which is such a high-energy campus. I took them cookies. They probably didn't need it, but it was fun to go out there and just see the energy that comes off that campus. And when we talk about homecoming, I really enjoyed seeing the photos of all the mascots. About 5 or 6 years ago, I actually purchased the otter costume for Riverbank, and I was surprised to see it was still around and in good condition. I mean, the principal had to do a few last-minute adjustments, but it all worked out, so that was exciting. And then I also visited Yolo High. I also wanted to mention that I know our high school does a good job, but last weekend, a senior came to my house with my son, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, did you fill out your FAFSA?" And he said, "What's that?" I said, "You sign up for your SATs? Oh, well, when is it?" And it's so disheartening to know. So, of course, my son says, "Mom, you're going to open up the house and do a workshop, right?" No, but it was a nice try. So I know we do a good job, and I just encourage everybody. The River City is offering free PSAT testing. Please take it. It doesn't judge your skills. It doesn't judge you as a person. If you're a junior, you need to take it. there's monies that you will miss out on. So just encourage your teenagers to go out and take that. FAFSA, of course, it's free money. Who doesn't want free money? So apply. It takes a little bit of time. Make sure you have a parent with you because you need parent information. SATs, my son took it for a second time. You can take it as many times as you want, and they just take your highest score. So I really encourage our students to do that. Also, because I do have a senior, I just wanted to let the board know. I think we all know. I know you guys, I know Norma's has some older children, has been through this, but the rest of you have younger kids. I just want to give you a heads up of what comes up at your senior year. It's very expensive. It was interesting to me, and I shared with Superintendent Luna, our seniors take senior portraits, and their studios are in Elk Grove and Citrus Heights, and you have to go there to get your photo in the yearbook. So I really hope that none of our students do not miss out on that opportunity and not be in the yearbook, and there's a sitting fee. And, you know, I encourage, if any seniors cannot get there, if they cannot pay the sitting fee, call Superintendent Luna I would be glad to take them out there. I would be glad to help them pay. I think your senior year is an opportunity of a lifetime. So I would hate for any child to miss that because the photo, company is not here in town. It's unfortunate. And also, I know $15 doesn't seem like a lot to most of us, but when you have invitations, cap and gown, it all adds up. So I don't want any senior to feel like they can't afford to do something. Please, if you can't reach out to a teacher, a principal, somebody, let them know that you need help, but we will get you there because it's just an important year. And I think that is all for right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Vice President Psat.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you. I don't have to worry about that for another 13 years, but I will be saving now.
It's expensive.
I just wanted quickly to make a quick shout out to some of my staff members that work at the developmental centers and state hospitals at Sonoma Developmental Center and Napa State Hospital who have been actually working around the clock. And they haven't had a break in over 28 hours now for moving. First, they moved the people with developmental disabilities from Sonoma State Hospital to Yountville Veterans Home, and then they had to evacuate them again from Yountville to Dixon Fairgrounds in order to keep them out of the smoke. And these are medically fragile people, so having smoke inhalation can really harm them. So I just wanted to say a quick shout out to them and thank you. Very much for allowing me to do that. They're doing a great job. Also, thank you to the Bridgeway Island leadership team. That was a great presentation. I was looking forward to seeing the video, but please send it to us so we can watch it. Also, I was able to attend the bee run for kindergartners. And what was really great to see was how many parents showed up to actually, help participate and keep the kiddos in line and running in the right direction and actually count how many laps each kid made around the little track that they had made up, as well as the kids definitely outran the teachers that were trying to keep up with them. I know my daughter did 17 laps around the little thing, and I knew I would be done after 5 if I tried to keep up. So anyway, I would just commend you on that. And also I'd like to say that the security on the facility is outstanding. I went to pick up my daughter from the YMCA on a minimum day, and I made the mistake of getting the time wrong. So I was a creeper sitting at the back fence waiting to pick up my daughter from the YMCA, and the kids rightfully said, "Hey, there's a stalker at the back gate." So they went and told Mr. Roberts about, this suspicious-looking bald guy at the back gate, and Mr. Roberts rightfully came up to me after he investigated what was going on, and he said, "What are you trying to test us?" So I embarrassingly tried to say, "Yeah, that's exactly right. You guys passed. Good job." So Good job. You guys are really on it with what you do there and telling the students to, be on the lookout for shady characters like me. So that's all I have.
I'm so sorry. I thought I turned that off, you guys.
And then I get another call.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I thought I had turned it off.
I want to thank Trustee Wong for her heartfelt words at the memorial, and I'm sure that was not easy to do, but your words were comforting, and so thank you for doing that and for sharing. I also I know parent curriculum nights are happening all over the district right now, and I felt pretty comfortable with the curriculum. I'd been on the curriculum council, and I went in expecting to kind of know a lot of what would be talked about, and it was really special and powerful, more so than I would have ever expected, to hear teachers really who are experts in their craft talking about how families can connect at home. And it made me a little emotional because just to be thankful that we have such incredible staff in this district who really are experts in their craft and helping connect with parents so much beyond just the textbook. And I really appreciated that. And I feel like at some point
Now we have sound.
Now we have sound. Maybe we can think about with the tech team too, I don't know, going digital down the road with things like that, because they're so good. And we have so many families, and when you look at how many people are able to get there and in the room and fill the room, it would be nice to find a way to connect with everyone. Although I don't know if the teachers would like to be videotaped. They told me they might not want to be. And then the River City High School homecoming game was really wonderful to be part of, and just a perfect evening. And I lucked out because Simran Kuman is the vice president of the senior class, and she gave me a tour of all the floats, and I got to really hear all of the hard work that went into them, and all student designed and even student cut out. It was really incredible. And what I loved about them also was on the back of the floats there were awareness campaigns, like for autism awareness and for violence prevention, and it was just a really great evening to be out and connecting, and smiles all over. So it was great. And the dancers were proud of their new outfits. I know my 3.5-year-old felt like they were all princesses, and we had to go and look at each one of the dancers and the band, of course, too. So just a great evening, of course, for our football players, but also for everyone else who was highlighted that night. And thank you to Trustee Wong for bringing up the CSBA piece and advocacy. Their focus, which was good to hear, was really about the funding, and they talked a lot about California funding versus where it was like in the 80s and how much we're slipping behind on that. And so that's their focus. So when we talk about legislation here that they're bringing up, they're really going to focus on the funding piece for us to look at. And I think that's an important piece for us as well to be thinking about as we look at legislation coming up. I also attended the PBIS, the second annual PBIS conference here in Sacramento, and I bring that up because I talked to Placer County, who has a ton of resources. They're doing a lot up there in Placer County that I didn't know about, and they offered to come down, even though we're YOLO. They said they go all over and go and help people and work in their districts. We heard about MTSS tonight. And they talk to districts about MTSS and what they're doing, and to come down and do that is free. And so that might be an important connection to make with them. The biggest piece, of course, that I walked away with, I went to the trauma-informed workshop as well, which I appreciate Trustee Wong talks about a lot in these meetings, and just what we know, that students need to feel heard and they need to feel seen by everyone on campus, including us when we go to campuses and visit, that we're talking with kids too, and letting them know how glad we are to see them and that they're there. The PBIS Coalition works together to recognize schools, so that might be a goal for, to look at down the road for the district, to think about how maybe we could be recognized with the PBIS Coalition, and they use the tiered fidelity inventory. So I know I'm kind of talking education speak right now, but that might be something that we can look at, and as we move forward in terms of what are we doing and how are we doing it. It's a good tool that's free online to look at. And then lastly, thank you for bringing up all those impacted right now by the fires. And I know that we have staff that commutes from Napa and, are in tough situations right now. And of course, we have students with extended families who are being impacted. And so our thoughts really go out to all of them. All right. And then that takes us, we're not going to have superintendent update tonight, which we're very sad about because those are always great, but we will be moving on then. So saving for next time. And that takes us then to the consent agenda. Okay. So we have a motion by Vice President Psat.
Second.
Second by Board Trustee Cruz. All those in favor?
Aye.
I too vote aye. Thank you. And now we're at board governance. First read of the board policy and administrative regulation, 1330, use of school facilities. Superintendent Linda Luna.
Good evening, President Kirby Gonzalez, Board of Trustees, and staff. This evening, we are bringing to the board a first read for discussion, which is Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 1330, which has to do with use of school facilities. Earlier in the spring, the Board of Trustees had already adopted the policies in this series of 1,000, with the exception of this particular policy, so that staff could look at the costs that were currently being used when people request to use our facilities. And so staff has looked at that, and there is very little change, as you can see in the supporting document, in terms of costs, and we're pretty competitive in that manner. It's also up for board discussion to review and assure that our actual request form that is used in the district is aligned to the current policy and regulation. So with the board's pleasure, we will open it up for discussion and any recommended changes that you would like to see for the second read prior to approval.
Can I just ask a quick clarification on the costs? If someone is, say, Class 2 costs, and they're using a classroom, they would be the classroom fee of $10 plus the custodian fee, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And yes, that is a small change, looking at those. So, okay with that? Are there any other discussions or discussions on changing?
No, I was just looking at the Class 3 costs. And so is this it says, like, say I'm looking at use of a large gymnasium at $190. Is that per day or per minimum of 2 hours? These are hourly rate?
It is.
Additional fee will be charged. Okay, so, okay. So, the 2 hour minimum, so $380 minimum. Okay.
I think for future documents, I would just appreciate, like in the application fee and in other places where it's worded, to remove the language that talks about political purposes not granted until board authorization. I think that is unnecessary from us, so we can remove that barrier.
It's fine.
I'm fine with that, too.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, are there any other changes or suggestions prior to the second read? Okay, we will bring it back with that correction to our next board meeting for approval.
Great.
Thank you very much.
And then that will take us to O2, which is the first read of board policy and administrative regulation 6153, school-sponsored field trips. And we have Dr. Parsons.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Very bright in here, we understand.
I know, huh? So tonight, we're bringing to you the first read for Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 6153. And just to explain a little bit about what you have in front of you.
I'm sorry, put it, Johnson.
It is a combination of CSBA language, and then the red is from different board policies around the state, including one that I did for San Mateo Union High School District. The primary parts in the red have to do with liability and safety issues, out-of-state and international trips. Those are the main things, and non-school sponsored trips, because CSBA did not have that in their model policy. And we found a lot of issues in different districts that we wanted to address for your consideration. So on page 1 in the second paragraph of the BP on the board policy, it just talks about the out-of-state international trips and overnight travel that must be submitted to the superintendent or designee. And it talks about the school principal coming up with the processes that are consistent throughout the district. And the third paragraph on page 1 talks about the process for principals and school sites. That, again, usually is not within the board policy, but we create a consistent policy throughout the district. The fourth paragraph on page 1 talks about the students cannot be denied because of funds. And on page 2 is international field trips and non-school sponsored field trips. And basically, the primary one is that if you're going to do an international field trip, that it comes to the board at least 6 months in advance. Things have changed quite a bit, obviously, in our world, and we really want to make sure that our kids are safe. So that's the BP. Are there any questions or comments on the board policy?
Tom, can you talk a little bit about, give me an example of a non-school sponsored field trip or excursion?
Yes. There are certain field trips that teachers on their own can arrange through a tour company. A tour company, and a lot of times we choose not to make it school sponsored because of the different regulations and liability issues that we have. And so in the AR, it goes into much more detail about how that is done with the teachers or with the students and parents. So it's very clear that this is not approved by the Board of Education or the administration. So there's certain steps they have to take in order to do that. And that includes having meetings for these during school hours. So there are ways to try to distance our organization from those types of trips.
I have a question, but it's not about the policy, of course. Who holds the askee, the person asking for the field trip, accountable for the documentation such as I want to go to Sly Park, and I hand it in to my principal. And the form should say what parents are going, how much money it costs, what days, is off. Who is held accountable to review all that?
At this point, it is the Director of Student Services, which is Jerry. He is the one, it always starts with the principal, but then the paperwork goes to Jerry, and then Jerry needs to go over it and make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Once the board has recommendations and we approve this policy, I intend on looking at all the forms and making sure that all the forms are aligned to the new board policy and administrative regulation to make sure that it's consistent throughout the district.
And that's the key word, consistent, because in the past,
Absolutely.
when we've had field trips come before us, there's been a lot of things not on there, and then, in my opinion, makes us look like the bad person because we can't approve it. It's not that we don't approve the field trip. It's
Right.
we want all our I's dotted and T's crossed.
Absolutely.
And then the only other thing I didn't see, and maybe somebody can point it out to me, I know it's probably just common sense, but I didn't see anywhere where it said participants have to be fingerprinted, the chaperones or anything to go on these. And I know, I would assume the chaperone process in each school includes fingerprinting, but I just didn't see that anywhere in here.
That's a great catch. Because we do, obviously, we do that with our new process with volunteers, et cetera, and that should be done as well.
So to
Thank you.
clarify, a chaperone is a cleared volunteer.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was in there. I had a question because it does go into, snake bite remedies. I was surprised not to see EpiPen on there. My understanding was the laws were, that you, on field trips, always needed to have somebody EpiPen trained as well as an EpiPen, even if you didn't have a student, needing one. And so my understanding was that schools had to have, an EpiPen that travels on field trips.
And that's a great point, too. That was a good catch.
Okay.
I'll make sure that that's
Perfect.
included as well.
And then for the overnight field trips, I don't know, maybe it would be in the other piece, as you were saying, the AR, but in terms of if there's any medication that the teacher's going to be responsible for, in terms of needing a doctor's note or any language about that. Allergies can be that too, because you can't give any. Yeah, any kind of medication would need it would just be good to have a standard form. So if it's here or if it's in the AR, just.
Okay.
And then my only other one, it looks like may was crossed out and instead shall hold a meeting for chaperones, parents to discuss safety. Would something like back to school night suffice if a teacher talks about it at back to school night?
I am, in my experience as a district administrator and as a principal, I would like it to be a dedicated meeting, that we get everyone together so that we can really outline what the policies are and what the expectations are.
It's like at the high school, the back-to-school nights, you have literally, 3 to 5 minutes to talk before they go to
No,
their next
yeah, the high
class.
school is kind of, I was thinking about like all of our teachers that go to Slay Park. I guess my thing,
That's a good point, that you're
Yeah,
saying that.
they're
like,
already
all
in a classroom.
And that all the kids are doing it. So that's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
we can definitely look at it.
Okay, I think something like that, it would be good to add some flexibility because that educator's already giving up more time to
Okay.
go on that field trip. And so if that can be included, I've seen it done well in back-to-school nights and I've seen it done not well, but back-to-school night for elementary is a good chunk of time, so that might
Absolutely.
be.
And it's always important for me, I'd like the principals the principal is ultimately the last word on the site. And so it's not
Okay.
just the teachers doing it with the parents, but I'd like the principals involved.
Great, okay.
I have one quick question, Jerry. At number 10, it says, "Parents are discouraged from making parallel out-of-country trips. If parents do make parallel trips, they will be discouraged from removing their students from the group." That's if, like maybe they go to Italy or something like that, and the parents also wanted to take. Is that what it's referring to? Number 10 on page.
Yes, it is.
89.
What it basically is, again, in my experience, if we have a trip to Italy and parents decide to do a trip on their own to Italy, well, it's not really on their own. They want to spend time with their student. But if we have not done any background checks, if they have not been part of the whole process, that we discourage. We can't stop a parent from doing that, but everyone needs to be aware that you don't get to suddenly show up to Italy and take your student somewhere because we're responsible for them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've seen that even like on trips to San Francisco, and then suddenly a parent shows up that you weren't expecting and says, "Oh, can I take my child out?" And you weren't expecting that or knowing that.
Disneyland,
So I guess what I'm thinking about is athletics and their tournaments away from home where their parents go and they have to get their own room. And I have seen parents take their kid from the group and go have dinner with them or go, is that what we're talking about? They should, because at what point, if that child goes to dinner with their parent, are we still liable because they're removed from the group?
Athletics is a little bit different, and it is pointed out in here around athletic trips because they do have kind of their own rules. If you have a tournament, I don't know, in Yosemite or whatever, that if a parent shows up, the parent can make contact with the principal ahead of time, but we need a form filled out for them to be able to, so we know where the student is if they're going out to dinner together. And no, we're not liable. As soon as you turn the student over to the parent, then we're no longer liable. Okay, but it is smart. We always want to know where the students are.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we have the proper forms filled out.
Great, thank you.
Any other suggestions before second read?
We're good.
Awesome, thank you.
you. Okay, so that takes us to our board discussion and action on the subcommittee members for policy and legislation. And so with that conversation, I have two questions. One, Vice President Psat expressed interest in not being on that committee anymore. Is that still accurate? Okay. And then my question would be if we would want to keep that a subcommittee where the agenda is posted, or if we would like to have that go back to the superintendent's committee as it was running prior. And so that would just be my question to the board. If you want to keep it as a subcommittee where agendas are posted and it meets with the
To
superintendent.
dissolve the committee, you'd have to dissolve the committee and make the policy work. Right, so the
To dissolve the legislation piece, but do you want to keep it a subcommittee where agendas are still posted with the superintendent? Or would we want it to be a superintendent committee does not need to be posted and has a little bit more flexibility around when board members can meet or not meet? And the policies are all still done in this room. You know, people can all see transparency when we go through the policy. So that would be my question to the board.
So would board members still meet with the superintendent, but it just won't be posted and?
How it was, yeah, when you and I were on that, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I would, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, because I was going to.
I was just
make a
gonna say, you're
motion, so
still
go ahead.
taking up, part of the concern was we're still taking up the superintendent's time.
Well, for me, it was the attorney's time.
Well, and you very well may do that as well, depending on what the issue is. So to me, it's either way. It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter to you?
But are we about done with renewing these?
Oh,
How
it
many
comes
more
back
board
in,
policies?
going through the policy, that's a good question.
Yeah, we are currently working still on completing the Series 4000, which is personnel. And the reason why we have requested our legal counsel to be with us in reviewing the Series 4000 is because we are cross-referencing language with our contractual bargaining agreements. We are almost done. We have Series 7000 still to do, which is about facilities. And after that, it will be quarterly updates through CSBA to provide any kind of change in language or law for the board to review on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way. There's, it is transparent here, but it's also transparent in the public meetings that nobody really comes to. So and we will have to have our attorney there for some of the board policies anyways, especially around human resources, so the time commitment's the same. It's really at the pleasure of the board. I know that part of this reason we established it was to actually address, one, the policy kind of updates that we had to go through, as well as trying to create a method to figure out our advocacy strategy around legislation. And I think that what you were trying to get at is that we will likely be dropping the legislative kind of analysis part of it until we kind of get more kind of clarity about what our priorities are. Is that if I understood correctly from that statement?
I think from our last discussion, that was the direction that I had heard. And that when we are going to meet again also with Mr. Walsh, and we will be talking about some of our goals and priorities there too. And I think that's a good place to have that conversation, all of us together.
Well, I want to say that I looked into other school boards around us, and I couldn't find a school board that had a subcommittee dealing just with legislation. I mean, I would be glad for someone to point me to that, but most of it was for policy. Because I mean, I would like to see what what other school boards are doing as far as legislation. But being so close to finishing our series, if there's no more comments, I would like to make a motion to dissolve that subcommittee members for policy and legislation, so we don't have to post it or anything anymore.
And then have the superintendent committee? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's been a motion to dissolve the subcommittee for policy and legislation. Is there a second? Is there a second for that? Instead of having a superintendent committee? I'll make a second on that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained?
And
Do you have a reason? Okay. so-
for me, I think Trustee Psat and I proposed the committee, so it's awkward for us to dissolve it, to be honest with you. We're the ones who actually wanted to put it forth.
Put it together, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so it stands, so the committee stands. So, so then we will have that committee and it will be posted. And so you express interest in being in that. Would you still be interested in that, Trustee Cruz? I mean, on
I'll
that committee?
finish helping out.
Okay, did you, just to review the policy? Okay, and with those, we do need approval, so can I?
So my question to be, after the final policies are reviewed, we're going to continue quarterly posting?
How about let's suggest, let's finish out kind of the calendar on the board policies and revisit that.
All right,
President Kirby Gonzalez, we need clarity on the motion and the second and the vote.
The motion didn't pass, and so the motion was made by Board Trustee Cruz, and I seconded, and we were the only two that said yes. The rest of the board abstained.
Abstained, thank you.
No, did you propose another motion that we go through?
So because the motion failed, the subcommittee still stands. Trustee Psat has resigned, and so there's an open spot. So either I meet by myself, which I don't think is legal.
Oh, well, Sarah
so Sarah nominated
But it has to
Trustee
be
Cruz
approved.
to replace Trustee Psat.
If you would approve that.
It's just for policy.
Just the motion.
Just for policy.
Yes,
Just
okay,
for
that's fine.
policy.
Yeah,
Just for
second.
policy.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to review the last section.
So I made the motion to have Board Trustee Cruz on the committee, and
Second.
Board Trustee Alcala seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I too say aye. Any abstained or no? Okay, so motion passes. Okay, and then future agenda items are going to be board information, community eligibility provision, October 26th. Then we'll have the first read of the board policy, which our two trustees will be going over. And as a reminder, we do have Mr. Walsh coming back, which is when we'll be talking about these goals, and we can go through these pieces together and where we want to go. And so I appreciate everyone giving their dates. I'll check in with you about what date works for you. Are there any other pieces for future board agenda items?
I would like to bring up ethnic studies as a graduation requirement. You know, some of the classes that they have, just to let you know, could transfer into 3 units at a community college. And that's what El Rancho's doing.
Do you have,
I'm going to give you a copy.
was there any language in your?
Yes.
Perfect,
Yes,
okay.
as a matter of fact, it's
Great.
fabulous. It has the resolution, it's comprehensive, it's fantastic. So I'm going to give this to the superintendent so she can make a copy for everyone.
Okay.
It's great.
So look over the resolution and language copy.
And I'd like to get an update on after-school care at all our facilities. We had a briefing a couple of months ago about, you know, how many facilities have an extraordinary waiting list. I'd like an update on where we are in trying to eliminate some of that waiting list. And I know at Bridgeway, I think they just hired another YMCA teacher, so they're getting closer to expanding their classroom size and being able to shorten some of their waiting list. But where are we at the other facilities? And so I'd like an update on that.
Okay, I know there was licensing, so an update with their licensing. And then that also might be a conversation with, at our special board meeting also in terms of where we think we want to go as a district too. But update on after-school care, okay?
And I have one.
Yep.
I know you have a lot. And I'll forward a blue slip to everybody.
Thank you.
But I would like to see the financials as far as board trainings. I'd like to know how much the board is allocated to go to these trainings. I do understand, and I'm going to say it, that we are over budgeted. We have overextended our budget. And also, while I appreciate little things that are ordered, and I think when we spend money as a board, that we all need to agree to spend money. and I know it sounds small and petty, but just the little name tag that I received recently, I already have one. So I don't know who put in for that order, and I hope it wasn't district money, because I think, sure, it's little things, but as little things keep coming, it's more and more money, and being over budgeted as a board, we need to know where we stand, and I think we need to visit, I think maybe this is a special board, in our governance meeting, because, I think we may need to talk about capping, because if we have a board member spending $10,000 and somebody $1,000, I think we just need to discuss.
I'm not spending $10,000.
We did.
I'm not saying
we can't have a board discussion. So
I'm not saying anybody's spending $10,000.
So it
I'm
is
sorry.
noted, and we did have a board policy that addressed this that we talked about recently. So maybe we'll revisit that at our workshop just this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We are going back to closed session.